Peace and power, everybody. We're here with episode number 9 of Realize Real News. And it's a blessing to be here. Second episode of the year. We are moving and grooving. And I am so happy and elated to have one of my new good brothers here on this call. Deric Muhammad, he had an emergency, but he will be on our part 2 next week. I was able to meet this brother last year in collaboration with another community organization. And I like the way they move. You know, they had their people come out. They're very about their mission. And so I'm so happy to be in solidarity with him. And so without further ado, I'm going to let my good brother introduce himself.
Appreciate you, sister. So my name is Damion JaDonne Walker. Like sister said, we met about a year ago, man. We got right to work. Doing a peace pop-up in Trinity Gardens, gave over 200 backpacks or something like that. Somewhere in that area. Just had a lot of community members come out. And I will go with the peace pop-up event that we partner with. Pop-up stands for protecting our people, uplifting peace. And it was great to be in partnership with you and Miss D. And had a great time. Plus, we share the same birthday. Yeah, so
yeah, January 28th. You know what I'm saying? That 28. Yeah, that means we're born to be a leader. We some leaders right here, making things shake. So yeah, man. So last year we did the back to school drive. And I really appreciated all that you do, everybody who came out. Just how y'all work together to do what y'all do. Had the young artists come out and to rap some positive rap music. That was very cool. And so pretty much right after that, a few months later, you were able to be a part of the second annual Black Gala Award Show and Ceremony. Yeah. And we were able to honor him and give him an award for all the work that he's been doing in the community. Even though I've just met him, I was able to, go back and see what he's doing and why he's doing what he's doing. And it's very, very important right now with everything that's going on in today's society. So thank you so much for being a part of the gala too. And I hope you enjoyed that gala and everything.
It was great. I got to go get an all white. I did some time in prison, so I don't want to wear all white like that. That was my first time actually. I've been on like 15 and a half years. That was my first time in all white in 15 and a half years. So wow. I did it for you.
I appreciate it. You look good. Y'all was sharp. I appreciate it. And so you just kind of touched on it. I want to kind of get into your background before we get into, your mission and what you're doing now. So just give the people who don't know who you are a little bit about your background and yourself and what you do now and why you do what you do now.
Okay. Background, the justice portion of the story is that I got incarcerated at the age of 16 back in 1993. Right before that, I had already had a case, a high-speed chase. So I think I can never remember if it was 16 or 15. I think it was like early 16. I picked up like 11 felonies, a high-speed chase, assault on an officer, injury to an officer, stolen car, speeding in the school zone. It was a pistol in the car. I didn't even know it was a pistol in the car. So I picked up 11 felonies. First time being arrested, I got out that night. Like I crashed into an apartment complex and everything. Got out that night, went through the process of going to court, got probation, and I never even made a payment before I caught this case. And I went down and did 17 years on. Ended up being arrested for 4 aggravated robberies that I didn't do and a burglary of a habitation that I did. Got jumped on my brother. I retaliated, shot up a house. Ended up catching that case and went to juvenile. And this was back in the 90s where they were processing you either fast or they were trying to bury you. So after I got certified as an adult, went to court. The lawyer, the court-appointed lawyer, we didn't have any money. The court-appointed lawyer told my grandma and my mama that they were going to If I beat 2 of the cases, I was going to get 50 years for each one. So they were saying you'll get 150 years. Why that was significant because I saw guys getting that amount of time back in the 90s, and I was just 17 at the time. So,
Yeah.
or what,
Wow.
100? Yeah, I didn't know any of that. So I ended up signing for 5 25-year sentences, run concurrent, just scared, didn't want to, be in that situation. And went down, did 17 years, and did time, and been home for about 15 and a half. So it's been an interesting journey, man, these last 30 plus years.
Wow. But you was out there cutting up in these streets.
Yeah.
What? Wow, wow, wow. But that is definitely a journey. And so my next question to you with everything that you just said is, when you do leave jail, when you do leave the institution, how do you rebuild your life after 17 years? And what were some of your biggest challenges during reentry?
I think still rebuilding, actually. I mean, that's a great question, but still rebuilding, right? Still, education sometimes don't matter. You still deal with yourself. You still deal with things that you missed, as far as experiences and being able to understand who you are in situations. And so when you are coming up and you want to be successful, there are just certain lessons that I didn't learn, so I don't know how to respond to certain things. That's why it's great to have mentors, right? Men and women who have come out and being able to have walked this walk, and you talk to them when you can. Reentry was fairly easy for me because what happened with reentry was, I mean, I was a kid. Me and my guy who we went down together. He was 15, I was 16. We had this conversation last week, and I have it often. Man, my gift was that I was a kid. I hadn't had any successes. I hadn't had any failures. I had never been in love, right? I had never just paid a bunch of bills. I come from, my mama was a trip, so I had bills in my name, and I was like 4, so my mama knew the system, right? So, but reentry for me was, as long as I stayed patient and stayed in that process of, I'm building. First time in my life, I'm 33, I'm 34, I'm 35. I'm building, and not so caught up on, as a man, this is where I'm supposed to be at. I was where I was at. Now I'm where I'm at. Now I'm where I'm at now. So for me, it was just being patient with myself and not getting frustrated. The biggest thing was relationships, though, because since I was a kid in the streets, relationships, make you or break you. They bury you. You get caught up in prison. Relationships make you or break you. Talk to a guy today who I ain't seen in 15 and a half years since he left the prison, right? We already talking about doing some business together because we knew who we were in, and we see each other walk now. And especially relationships with women, relationships.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I get a D. I get a D right on top of an F, man. For the first few years of relationships like that. So my reentry wasn't really bad, because I knew that I didn't know, but it was bad when I made certain mistakes about relationships, because just in there in the streets, if we don't rock, we don't rock, and I don't care. So that was my biggest thing, and that was why I think I caused my most hurt, because I just didn't care. If we not rocking, we not rocking. I don't care who you are. We just not rocking, and that's my peace, right? So I protected my peace in a negative way that I learned in prison and in the streets.
Yes. So my next question to you is, I know you told me some of the things that you face, but what are some of the biggest obstacles that formerly incarcerated individuals face when coming home? There's so many different things, identity, family, like you said, relationships, knowing how to communicate with other people in a civilized way. Give me some things.
I would say starting out is going to be like the housing, right? It's going to be employment. Those are the major things, because that's what make you a citizen of society: housing and employment, right? So you're saying
And at least you had that where you were. You had somewhere to stay, and you might have had a job or something. So I got you.
exactly. So those are things that makes a man. We're talking about like a man, that makes a man feel normal: housing, job, right? And especially going or coming home from however long this person has done, like he know that he got up pretty much every day and went to work, right? He know that he did some sort of work, right? Wasn't just sitting around all day, wasn't necessarily disabled. And those that are disabled in prison, they have a desire to work. So mostly everybody's working in prison because it's also your hustle as well. Whatever your job is, that's your hustle. So you come home wired. And especially if you were down there for a long time, like me, again, I got certified as an adult. There are hundreds, thousands of us in Texas that got certified in the early '90s. So housing, employment, I would say those other things are reconnecting to family, really reconnecting to emotions. Because I would often say to a girl that I was dating at one time, man, your emotions don't mean anything. I said this to a woman that I was in a relationship with, like, your emotions don't mean anything. And I mean, I was serious. And later on, after we broke up, I called her back because I started studying emotional intelligence. I
Come on.
Yeah, I was wrong. So being able to, the ways that we protect ourselves, and not just physical, we have to protect our heart. We have to protect our mind, because we know that we made some of the worst decisions in our life, and those 5-second decisions cost us 7 years, cost us 10 years, cost us 5 years. 5-second decision can cost you 10 years on probation. So a lot of times we're very protective of our space, and people will take that as if, oh, he's institutionalized. There is some institutionalization there, but the main thing that is that this is how I know how to protect myself, to keep me from doing something wrong or for flipping out, because that's what I know. And it's not me saying that this is the only thing that I know. I'm saying I'm not ready at this time, so take me slow, right? Take me slow. I'm in a new relationship with society.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in a new relationship with society. So, I had a little game back in the game, and you talking to the woman and she like, hey, like, we're going to take this slow. So a lot of times when the brothers and sisters coming home, parole is saying, go do this. Your family is saying, go do this. And you have these goals that you established while you was in prison. And probably only 7-10% of those goals transferred to society.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, man, just take me slow. But society, parole, family, spouses, kids, the goals, desires, they don't take it slow because everything is moving out here. So it's really having those great mentors, men and women, to reach back out and say, hey, look at this, take your time. Don't do this today, let's do this. You can't do everything in one day.
Yeah.
Because really, even though relationships are bad, you have to also establish relationships as well.
Yeah. Well, that's powerful. And so what you saying, taking things slow and having grace and compassion for yourself too. And people make sure they give you that as well. Mm-hmm. What does successful reentry actually look like beyond just staying out of prison?
Following steps. Successful reentry is accomplishing what you can when you can. And then turning back around and cranking it up and put a little pressure on yourself. Or for those that love you, put a little pressure. You will put a little pressure on that person. I got a degree while I was in prison. I got voted Toastmaster president. Like, I got a horticulture trade. I did things. I went on a Black History study for like years, where I just read about Egypt and a bunch of Black authors after I got out of school. But when I got to a pre-release, the counselor told me to fill out these goals, fill out these SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Okay.
He said, fill out these goals. At this time, I'm incarcerated for 16 and a half years. I got a few months to go. And though I've done all this stuff in prison, and I was successful again, came home with a degree from Alvin Community College. When he gave me that piece of paper and say, fill out these goals, I exaggerated. I said 3 months. It at least took me 3 weeks. And I was one of the more educated people in my group, but it took me at least 3 weeks to fit this out, because in prison, opportunity, do it. Opportunity, do it. I can go to school, I'm going to school.
Right.
I can go to rec and lift weights, I'm going to rec. There was no working up to something. This is the opportunity. You either do it or you don't. So when they told me fill out my goals, like I literally like felt it in my body, like I was scared. And I took a blank piece of paper back to my counselor and say, man, I can't do this. Like, I don't know. And so once we did that, for me, I came home with a list of goals. So remember I told you earlier, you don't often accomplish those goals. But for me, I came home with a list of goals because somebody had been successful in society and assisted me with that goals. And like, Damion, this isn't realistic. Look where you're coming from. This isn't realistic. You can do this, but you also need to do this as well.
Yeah.
And so I always say this portion. I'm a Christian, but a lot of people, when I came home, a lot of people thought I was Muslim because I was so and I mean just people in the streets.
Yeah.
People that, because I had a backpack on, they was like, "Are you Muslim?" And I would always ask why. They was like, "You're just so focused." But I was focused because I had goals, and I didn't take it offensive. I was like, "Yeah,
right."
Man, people holding me in high regard." So you had those goals. So just like when we out here, we have to have goals. So my goals is what helped me adjust to society. And the men and women come home should have a list of goals, and then we, community, should review those goals with them.
Wow, that's powerful. Okay. Man, that's some good stuff, man. That's really good. And so we're going to shift into violence prevention and intervention. And so just from your perspective, just from your experience, what are the root causes of violence in our community that we're seeing right now today? And it's a lot of things. So
just kind of depend on the community you from. Houston, I've had the privilege of being the first supervisor for the Harris County Violence Prevention Program over there at the Public Health Department. And I was telling somebody this yesterday, actually. When we got that job, we didn't know what we were going to be doing, right? We knew what the job description said, but with violence, it goes deep. To me, violence and sex trafficking are two of the hardest things to deal with in our society, because sex trafficking, the men and women that are participating in it is both sides. Victims, trauma, being a survivor of it, but also being a perpetrator of it, right? With violence, it's a lot of trauma. So there's a lot of sides to it. I can be a victim or I can be a perpetrator. And if I'm a perpetrator at any given moment, I can be a victim. So it depends on the community. So like we used to be in Cypress Station, 1960 area, 45 and 1960, 77090.
That's close by me.
Yeah, I know it. So out there, at one point, that was the most violent zip code, like 3 or 4 years ago. That was the most violent zip code in Harris County.
Yeah.
And people say 1960, Cypress Station, and you go back into those houses are huge.
Yeah.
But what happened was, and I'm gonna get to that question. What happened was Greens Point, Guns Point, right? That's what they called it. Greens Point.
Katrina.
They had an investment, monetary investment that community, the people in Greens Point knew nothing about. So when they had that monetary investment from those big investors, those oil and gas people, they started building up around Greens Point, those apartments and some of those stores and that office building, those motels. Everybody from that particular area started moving down to 1960. So I'm giving it to you, right? It's the data to it. So they started moving down to 1960. 77090 is the zip code. In 77090, there are 92 apartment complexes. There was once a mental health facility in 77090 that got shut down. So all the people that would go there to get those mental health issues would still go there, and now they're on the streets. So when you go to 1960 at night, it looks like Vegas. There's probably downtown has nothing on 1960. Downtown has absolutely nothing on 1960 at nighttime. So what leads to violence are cultural areas, right? 1960 became this because of the apartment complexes, because of the mental health facility, because of those plasma centers. They have a lot of plasma centers.
Oh, yeah, they got one over there. Yeah, right on Ella, 1960.
Right on Ella. That's the one. That's the main one. So a lot of those plasma centers over there, right? So culture in 1960, what we used to say, that was transient. Because what I did, when I was in the community, I found people from Pittsburgh, Compton, Oakland, all over through California, Mississippi, Carolina. So it was almost as if 1960 became a dumping ground for people. And so then you go back, we used to be in South Park and Sunnyside, right? In Great OST area. So we would come back to our higher ups and we would let them know 1960 is different from South Park, Sunnyside. And though we're under the same umbrella, we can't approach it the same. We can't approach violence the same that we do in South Park because those areas are cultural. So a lot of that violence could have happened over the last 5, 10, 15 years. Those things could have been going on. But in 1960, it's not that. So I always say cultural, but the drivers of violence are going to be the same thing really across the board. Systemic violence, systemic depression of those areas, food insecurities. It's going to be the schools in those particular areas like South Park, Sunnyside, Worthing. Worthing was the most violent school in HISD when it came down to the incidents that happened. So Worthing got that title, and that's only data labeling Worthing. But we're not labeling the kids. We're labeling the data. The data says that Worthing High School is the most violent high school in HISD because of the fights, because of the officers that are going there. So violence is driven by a number of things, but it's going to be usually systemic, underserved areas, underinvested areas. Of course, gangs and groups, right? Drugs can drive it. So it's going to be those things that you hear, but also we learn what is the story behind that.
Yeah.
What is the story behind that systemic trauma and everything else in those areas?
Absolutely. Wow. So, Lord, it's just so much to unpack when we talk about this. It's deep, right? And so my next question to you is, you kind of briefly touched on Peace Pop-Up. Can you explain the mission behind Peace Pop-Up and how does your work directly intervene before violence happens? Because that's something that we really want to focus on too. How do we intervene before the weapons get pulled out and before somebody's under the hashtag or on a t-shirt?
So let's start there, and we'll come back to Peace Pop-Up.
Okay.
So part of what we do is a science. My guy Preston Diller Devon would always say, I love the science behind CVI. We were trained by two men that came out of Chicago, one from Chicago, one from LA, but they both came to Chicago. And every chance I get, I always show appreciation to them because they showed me as a professional, but they also showed me as a man on how to be inside of this work as well. So that's Dr. Chico Tillman and Marcus McAllister. And so they came down and trained us at the county. And I know I did. I know I took it way, way further than that because I ended up getting picked up by a national organization. And I had the privilege to go train all around the country. But they gave me the foundation. And so with that foundation, with violence, it starts when we going into these communities, you got to have the right people, right? You got to have people usually from that area, usually. I mean, high level, like that's I'm gonna say 65, 70%. You want somebody from that area that has walked those streets and lived that life, and still has some influence or can generate influence and a movement in that particular area, saying, "Hey, y'all, man, we done lost too many brothers and sisters in this area. We done lost too many kids. We done lost too many old people in this particular area. So, man, let's stop the violence."
Yeah.
This is the bad part that people will say is the bad part. I'm not coming to it's to stop the drug selling. I'm not. I'm not coming to stop it's the drugs. I'm not coming to stop breaking in cars and stuff like that. My thing is if somebody breaks in a car and somebody knows who did it and they got their gun, they looking for them in the community, that's where I need to be at. Not saying I disregard the guy that's breaking in cars. Because when I see him, I'm from the community, so I know, man, get your ass over here, man.
Right.
But I need for somebody when they get ready to kill somebody, a taxpaying citizen or a gang member, man, give us a call, man.
Yes, and that's my next question. Actually, is how important is it for the community itself, to be involved in solving violence? A lot of times, something happens. They hear a gunshot. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. But then you do know something, and you did see something. But you feel like getting involved is gonna put you, in a position, where you're gonna get harmed. So how important is it for actual community to step up and get involved in stopping the violence?
And love the title community violence intervention is the discipline that I fall under, right? And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, building trust. Certain community members that have been there for 30, 40 years, 3, 4 months, they don't trust. Right. They don't trust that community as a whole is going to stick together. Because if I just move to an area, I've been here for 6 months, and my kid is already in and out of juvenile, and they never did that before, I have to get involved some sort of way at the mosque, at the church, at the civic center, wherever, to be able to voice my opinion. And that means that in these circles, we all have to trust each other. And trust has to go to the guy with the gun, and trust also has to go to the person who wants to get the gun out the guy's hand. We all have to at some point trust each other, and that takes time. So people, what I figured, what I found out, what I've seen, myself included, we don't want to invest in each other. Come home inside my house. We have no desire to invest in each other, not just our finances. I don't want to hear nothing about your day. I don't want to have your barbecue. I don't want any part. I don't even want your Girl Scout cookies. I'm gonna go Buffalo Speedway and give me some Girl Scout cookies. I don't get none in South Park. So is that we don't really want to invest in each other. And so if we invest in each other, we invest trust in each other. If we begin to invest trust in each other, then we plant those seeds grow. And so now you have these flowers, you have these bushes of trust that are growing up. And so what do? You got to prune them. You got to give them some time. You got to water them. That means I got to water my neighbor. I got to prune my neighbor. My neighbor dog is that I got to call my neighbor, because eventually, like you said, something's going to happen. Yeah. So when the guys and the girls on the corner and the ones that we don't see, when they see us giving into each other,
right?
Then at some point, something gonna happen to their mama, something gonna happen to their sister, something gonna happen to their homeboy, and they gonna see you and they gonna say, "Man, can you help me? I ain't ready yet, but I need some help, and this is what I need help with."
Yeah,
that's where it started, building trust. But they gotta see it. You can't just go to them with it. Sometimes they're gonna have to see it. They're gonna have to see us being consistent with each other.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah. So my next question is, okay, so we're at the point of the violence, and hopefully we're at the point of stopping it and preventing it. But in a lot of cases, we're not able to. And so then people in our community, especially our youth, they get caught up in the system. And we understand the system. We've seen the system and how it works or doesn't work in our favor. And I think that's what what people like you and Brother Deric Muhammad try to do is prevent you from getting there, because like you said, something, a 5 second, 10-second thing turns into 5, 6, 7 years. And we know the justice system is kind of it is false. I'm not gonna say kind of. What policies or systemic changes will make the biggest difference right now?
Okay.
If any.
So I'm gonna go back. So keep that question. So I want to go back to community, right?
Yes.
So keep that question about the policy.
Okay.
So what has to happen is we in community, we talk about the trust. So once we build the trust, what goes to those policies are us creating like life skills classes or trainings within our community, right? Yes. So we have to have something where when somebody says, hey, man, I want to put the gun down, I want to go get a job, where do they go inside that community?
Right.
Because they're not leaving the community because they got ops in the next zip code.
Right.
So what do they have in that community? I need some sort of network where I'm at so I can begin. The policy is the government, right? The voting and stuff. I need to change my policy. My policy is shoot a fool. That's my policy.
Right.
My policy is duck down. My policy is coming out at 3 o'clock. I'm staying out to 4, 5 in the morning. So that's my policy. So I need to change my policies first, because if we trying to change high policies often, which I mean, there is there for a reason. The process is there for a reason. But if we saying community violence, we're saying the violence is happening in the community. So then we also saying community healing, community trauma.
Yes.
So we have to change the policies within our people first. That's why every training, and I'm not making a plug. I know you're gonna let me make a plug. But I found this to be effective because I went through other trainings. We have to teach our brothers and sisters, man, you're going to heal, but your emotional intelligence, because you said something earlier, have empathy. We don't even have empathy for ourselves. That's one of the 5 emotional intelligence.
Yep.
So I need to bring them to some sort of skills, trusted individual in the community to be able to say, hey, man, come to these classes. And when you come to these classes, we're going to talk to you about this. We're going to help you work through this. I had a kid call me a couple of weeks ago. I was with him this weekend. Had a baby. He said, Mr. Damion, man, I just need to talk to you, man. I say, you want to talk on the phone or you want me to pull up on you?
Right.
Boy, I said, I need you to pull up on me.
Yeah.
So we have to be trusted individuals in our community. And he's staying in a whole other community, but I work with him. But if I can call somebody from that community, I can call OG. Hey, I need you to go pick up on my fam, man.
Right.
But we have to start our policies in our community first.
Yes.
And that way, once we're going to commissioner's court, we're going to city council, we're going to Austin, we're going to Washington, we can say, this is our investment right here. We need support with this. We've already done our fiscal responsibility right here. This is what we need support with. These are the policies that we're presenting for this particular area. So that's how we have to start out. Then when you start getting to the government aspect, I mean, the main thing that a lot of people fight for, like gun rights and things like that, bringing some food to the area. But in our communities, when you look at it, and I want people to correct me because I've been pessimistic for like 3-4 years. I do good work. I got to go out with a good heart, but I've been pessimistic because what do we really want to do, right? I'm pessimistic about the system because the system messed over me and tried to give me 150 years, and I signed for 125. Though it was run concurrent, they was trying to bury me. And one of my brothers came home after 30 years that I saw him in juvenile. Another brother just came home 2-3 weeks ago after 34 years, and we was in juvenile together in 1993, 94.
Wow.
We just came home 2-3 weeks ago. So I'm pessimistic about the system, and that's why I'm so much like, let us do what we can first.
Yes.
Let us do. They're there for a reason. Let us have our relationships with our politicians and let us have relationships with the elected officials and the lobbyists and everything else. but you can't go to in the midst of South Park to the OG or to the young G and say, man, name me a lobbyist.
Right.
Name me a lobbyist. Right. What policy are you concerned about?
Right.
Man, my sister on pills right now. Man, I'm trying not to kill the pill man right now, man, because he giving my sister pills.
Right.
They don't know the lobbyists. And recently, I know I'm talking a lot. I'll be quiet after
this.
You good. When I went, I was at and I name drop a lot because I appreciate the brothers and sisters that have poured into me. But Anthony Graves on death row for 6 murders that he didn't commit. He's exonerated 138, I believe. And we went to a program, and in his program, we were able to go to Austin because we were writing bills in the program, a part of the Anthony Graves Smart Justice Speakers Bureau in partnership with TSU and the ACLU Texas. And so we were writing bills. So me and my guy, Steven wrote the bill, but he always said that I helped him get it passed. I said, I'll take it, right? People don't get to pass bills often, right? But Steven got a bill passed that was the 11th indicator for at-risk kids in Texas schools. So TEA, Texas Educational Agency, adopted it statewide. The indicator, there had been a new indicator for like 13 years. The indicator was that TEA should look out for of the 11, I believe it was 11, it was 11 or 13, was children of incarcerated parents. We rode up and down 290 or whatever else from Houston to Austin for weeks, going to meet with people. And you know, I was 37, 38. And you know, I didn't know that you could do stuff like that. So at 37, 38, what do our kids from community know that you can just walk into your elected official's office?
Right. Right.
That's what they need to know, because then now they'll be invested in the system. Because going back to what you were saying, they're not invested in the system. They invested in the system, waking up, selling drugs, waking up, going to school, doing homework, going inside because mama said come inside. But they not invested in the overall system. So we saying policy needs to happen inside that community first, and then build out. And those of us that can pick them up and take them with us to Austin so they can sit there to a city council meeting, to a commissioners court meeting. That's what we should do, because now they're going to know there's a bigger system outside of this. And I can stop with the pistol. I can stop with the drugs. I can finish school.
Right. Man, I absolutely agree. And it's so deep. It's like, it's so much to think about. It's so much to think about. And that's another reason why I started doing what I'm doing with my community organization. Even outside of that, you know, I'm a holistic practitioner. I teach yoga, meditation. And the reason why I do that is we have so many things fighting for our attention that are causing us distractions, and we never spend that time looking within ourselves. A lot of us do not love ourselves due to our environment and our community. A lot of self-hate, and so it's easy to look at somebody because you hate yourself and you don't have the tools and the resources to heal yourself. You see somebody who looks just like you in your community as an enemy, and now we have an issue. And so going back to the system though, do you believe, and I already know what the answer is, you would think, you know, even if somebody's going to jail, to prison a year, 5, 6, 7, they're not really doing anything to kind of reestablish anything in you, who you're supposed to be. So it's like, what's really the purpose of going to jail and to prison if they're not going to put you in a better situation when you leave, mentally, emotionally, spiritually?
Well, punishment, the system in Texas Department of Criminal Justice is security. TDCJ is security. TDCJ isn't rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And I know they used to call it rehabilitation at one time, and I'm not speaking down on them because I made my changes, right? But that was Alvin Community College. Jim Arnold, God rest his soul, came in and implemented Toastmasters for us. Chaplain Fred Broussard was our chaplain, right? And other volunteers. My mentor, who I'm still cool with to this day, not like a brother, been around me since I was 23 in prison. I'm 49. Was a Jewish man, right? And we still, I owe him lunch, a breakfast or something right now, right? So we still cool to this. This man been with me since I was 23. I'm 49.
Wow.
That's how long he been in my life, right? So it was those individuals. After a while being in there, I never expected the system to be able to change me. And I know none of the stuff that I know now about system design and everything else. I had no idea back then. I just knew that it didn't feel right, right? I knew that there was a bigger purpose. I knew that I'm not supposed to be here just waking up, going to sleep, you know. So the TDCJ, the prison system, is for you to live out that punishment and for you to be secure and not escape and for you to live out that time. And then you have the parole system, right? The parole system is an entirely different system, right? And then you have the supervision side. The supervision is parole out here. You got the people that's coming to view you for parole, looking at your case, and then they say, we're going to release you from security to supervision. Those are two different systems.
Right. Wow.
Those are two different systems. So now when you're in the system of supervision, if you didn't rehabilitate yourself or take advantage of the trainings while you were in security in supervision, you're going to mess up and most likely recidivate and go back to security. You're going between two systems. You're not in one system. You're going between two systems. So now if I go back to my community, if I go back to Acres Home, Channelview, Crosby, South Park, Sunnyside, Southwest, if I go back to my system in community,
yeah,
and I haven't done anything with the system inside prison, and the parole system is telling me, hey, do this, the supervision system is saying do this, I'm at odds. That's why I go back to one of your first questions. The reintegration. I'm in all these different systems. And I think that I want to do better, but in prison, I had to protect myself. Depending on where I was, not every prison is super bad. Out here, I got to adjust to society, get a job that I didn't prepare for while I was in prison. And then I'm going back to my community and my family system. Yeah. So I'm confused. I'm in all these situations and I'm confused. Yeah. So it's tough to be able to go from a system where you're making what they say 20 decisions a day in prison to making 4,000 immediately for some people, not everybody, for some people.
Yeah.
So just being able to do that is it takes mentorship. It takes us and systems to collaborate together.
What role does healing your mental, emotional, and spiritual play in reducing violence? Because a lot of times people are already dealing with something or have dealt with something. Could be stem from childhood, could be something more recent. So what role does that play in reducing violence and somebody making a decision that could potentially hurt them?
So the emotional, the trauma, the experiences. When I do the classes, I say emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. It helps you to understand you. That's what I always tell the classes. When I understood that I've always had self-awareness, but I wasn't aware, right? When I'm regulating my emotions, because emotions are natural.
Yeah.
Anger is natural. Sadness is natural. Anxiety is natural. Our 100 with how many of emotions? These emotions are innate in us. And so when you can tell, and I'm going to stick with the men right now, when you can tell a man, bro, being sad is natural. But you don't know how to be sad because you look at it as a weakness. So when somebody does something to you, somebody take your cotton candy out your mouth, you angry. But initially, you disrespected. You felt disrespect.
Right.
You feel angry. Right. You felt disrespect. So when I teach anger management class, so when I'm telling them, what class did the judge send you to? Anger management class. Did he send you to disrespect management class? Control the disrespect. If you can understand who you are first.
Yeah.
If somebody takes something from me, man, it's going. Right. But if I can control the disrespect to be able to control my reaction to the anger, now I'm better in control. So it's basically continuing to build that trust, to have somebody be able to listen to you and you tell them that and they follow up. And then when they get into it, they pick up the phone and say, bro, I'm dealing with this right now. Did you go through your process? Yeah, man, I was disrespected, man. Then I got angry. Yeah. What did you feel in the disrespect? You done went through it 15 times, but they just need to continue to understand. So the role that plays in stopping violence is us being able to understand that our emotions play a part in who we are.
Yeah.
But our emotions we don't have to be judged, and we don't have to act off our emotions all the time.
That is so true. And I'm an educator, so I'm in middle school. I'm in a school right here in Greens Point, in the trenches between Spears and Gears. I'm right here. Okay. And so I deal with that a lot with the youth. They're always feeling disrespected or they're embarrassed, and the next thing you know, they're cussing each other out and this and that. And so and I'm in an area where some of these kids are coming to school and they may be selling drugs, or they may be doing certain things. I have two questions for the youth, and then we're going to move on. My first one is, what message do you have for young people who feel like the streets are their only option, probably because of their environment that they're in?
For those in your city, and let's just say Houston, man, is bigger than your zip code, is bigger than your block, right? Going around Houston, being able to experience what Houston is, right? What your city is, depending on where you're from, what your state is, right? Is bigger than that, and give yourself time. I know it's difficult and people losing lives around you, but give yourself some time, man. Like, again, you talking to somebody who at 16 had 16 felonies. So I wish I could have gave myself some time. So give yourself time. But it also goes, and I know I'll be jumping around, but it also goes to the parents. It also goes because there's no food in the house, or they making bad decisions, or they aren't capable, right? So for the kids, man, give yourself some time, man. Hold out, man, as long as you can. And after that, man, hold out a little bit longer, and find the boxing, find the cycling, go swimming, right? Get a part of something. But that's on us. That's on community. Just like you did, you gave out, and you had 1,000 backpacks. I think when we gave out,
we still had some more left over.
Yeah, you had 1,000 backpacks. So, I mean, being able to, it's the being community in our community is important. So for the kids, man, give yourself some time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to kind of piggyback off of that too, because even the backpack, back to school and backpack, like, that's very important too. But I look at the youth, because you have some of the youth in some of these underrepresented communities that don't have backpacks. They can't get a backpack. They can't get school supplies. They come to school and don't have the things. I've seen it in my own classroom. I'm asking, hey, where your stuff at? Where this? And then somebody say, he can't afford it. Next thing you know, now they beefing, and now they want to fight each other. And so now we're getting into, you got a kid who got low self-esteem, and his way of protecting himself is, maybe fighting and things of that nature to protect himself and his ego. So that backpack driving, doing things like that is
It's key.
Very important and powerful. You know, people don't have, I mean, just the basic necessities. And that can trickle down to anything. So when I see a kid who doesn't have that, I think about, do they have food in their house? You know, and I just look at, you know, these different things. And so my next question is, how do we stop this prisoner pipeline when it comes to our youth in the public schools too? Because you know, I'm very aware what's going on. I know that a lot of our students I use as data, they're numbers, you know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, they already know which kids are not gonna make it. And I mean, I'm seeing certain things, even the name tags. They make them be quiet in lunch before they can get their lunch, and all these different little things. How can we intervene and try to prevent that, even though that is how they want their system to be ran? Because the school is also an institution. So how do we navigate that?
I would say, I mean, we just have to be involved. You know, we got to be involved in our school, in that particular school that your kid goes to, be at the school board meetings, doing things like that. Because, man, I haven't seen that, but that'll be sad. Like to go in and see and be reminded of a prison child inside of a elementary or high school or middle school. That would be totally sad for me to see something like that. So we just have to get involved. And I'm not saying everything is community, but you were saying in this particular conversation right here, in this particular point that you made, it was just like, man, if we could come together and recognize this particular household just doesn't have it, but there are a lot of households like that, especially like in apartments. And we can come to that household and say, hey, man, how can we help you stabilize? Like that would help something, because once we help them stabilize, now we can go on to the next household, right? When it comes down to the systems, I said this a long time ago, man. Systems are sustained. And if we're saying we're going to break it down, industries are based off of systems.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna break this system down, we also have to think about the people that are employed by the system. We got to think about the people that's affected by the system, right? Because we're saying we're gonna just take the food out their family's mouth. So the prison guards, the wardens, like everything, all that matters. So it's difficult because what we see as a system, it feeds so much other stuff. Yeah. So really, it's all macro, but man, if we could bring it micro to say this household right here, these 4 children right here, this school right here, this street right here is what we're focused on. Let's get this. Then we can start building out.
Wow, that's powerful. We're almost towards the end of our show. You've been giving some great knowledge, some great information. So I hope everybody who's listening and who will listen, take heed, because it's very powerful for you to take this into your own community. What is your message to the people watching who want to change but don't know where to start? Whether it's people who are just having, you know, down their luck, or just people in the community who want to make a difference. Where do they start?
I would say we'll go real deep on this one, and not deep knowledge wise. Work on yourself first. Make sure you're good, because you're gonna get triggered in certain situations, especially by you serving in your area, right? Yeah. Serving somewhere close to you. You can see somebody that killed your nephew, right? You can see somebody that beat you up, or you beat them up like when y'all was young. So make sure you're good first, going back into the trenches. Make sure you heal and you tend to your wounds first, and then figure out what you want to serve, figure out your skill set, and go get with the people that are already serving. You don't have to build your own organization, start out with. It's understandable when you want to do that, somebody wants to do that, but then go and find out who's already serving.
Yes.
Figure out where you fit in there. Or if that particular group doesn't fit you, go find another group. Go to the next zip code. Do something when you get off work, right? Find out that, because then you can bring your skill set to that particular group. then once you start doing that, like doors just open because
Yes.
you're presenting yourself almost as a whole person, and you're not going to work and serve just so you can feel better about something because it happens.
Yes.
Just so you can feel better about something that you've done, or you can feel better about. It's not about you feeling better. That's selfish. Go sit down.
Right.
It's
Right.
selfish. Work on you first. Go and find a group, and then bring your skill, bring your passion, bring your love, and learn a new skill, learn a new
Yes.
passion, renew your love. Right? It's that's the holistic part of it. It's
Yes.
not easy. It's not easy. Sister, I don't want to be at the hospital. I said, I'm not 2, 3 more years. I'm not gonna be at the hospital when they get shot, man. I was at the hospital back in '92 when
Yeah.
the B got shot. I was at the hospital 2 months ago. Kid got shot 7 times. I don't want to be. I've been at the hospital for 30, 40 years. I don't want to keep going to the hospital. So
Yeah.
other people need to come and be able to do stuff. So basically, heal yourself and then go be around a bunch of other healed people so everybody can get healed, right? And move
There you
on.
go. There
Yeah.
you go. And come be a part of a peace pop up or
Yeah.
all neighborhoods pathway united event,
Yeah.
because that's what we do. And also that's why I appreciate you too, because you move around in different communities just like myself, to bridge that gap with other communities,
Mhm.
with other community organizations that might be in that area. And so that's very powerful too as well, to bridge that gap. And so moving into, I know you have a couple of books that you have written and that you are writing and publishing. Let people know about that right now.
So the first one was empowering the underserved community. Basically, there you go. Look at that. Social equity through collective action. Foreword by Jeffrey Peck, great grandson of W.B. Du Bois. Basically, to sum it up, what we say is it's a clarion call to do what we're talking about. We should be able to empower ourselves. We should be able to equip ourselves because we have it within us. We do it for jobs all the time. I know we're tired, but we can take another 2, 3 hours a week, 5, 6 hours a week locally and do things in our community to be able to bring up our community. And then we call the big people, we call the government, we call local superstars or whatever else and say, man, you here making money off our pain, or you making money off this, come in and invest in us to invest in our community as well. There you
Wow,
go. You
that's
got that
powerful.
one.
That's powerful.
You do work, girl. You do your research.
For real, for real. And so my last question to you is, how can the average person support you and what you're doing? How can we find you? How can we support you? And what events or trainings do you have coming up next?
So always funding. No lie, we don't get a lot of funding, which I mean a lot of people don't. So if there's funding opportunities for us to partner with an organization to come in with them, or you guys know something else, or grant writers, right? Being able to come and write grants, is I'm learning how to do those things. But mainly just being a part of things like the peace pop-ups, finding somewhere in your area, figuring out like the resources where you at, so we can come together with a resource list. I'm gonna make a big ask for a community as a whole. One thing that we need is a universal caseworker. We need a group of individuals who volunteer to do casework and case management for people in community. Because for me as an executive director, and I hold other positions, it's difficult for me to do the stuff that I should do with the people that I work with. So
Yes.
one thing that we need is, I'm making this plea for a community. We need some sort of community case management system where we can connect everybody to and go through the HIPAA, do whatever else we need to do. But you can always find my information on cognitive justice. We just dropped the international breaking news. Bum, 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 bum. That's that club horn. I don't really know how to do it. So we went from Cognitive Justice International, and I put the paperwork in and filed the paperwork just to be Cognitive Justice. Okay. So our new website is cognitivejustice.net, cognitivejustice.net. We have a lot of things coming up. And also, my last ask before I turn it back over, we started a landscaping business. So we need commercial contracts, we need municipal contracts, because the people that we work with don't have to go through all the background checks. We got the insurance, we got the equipment, we got the vehicles. But if community could help us get commercial contracts, residential as well. We do gardens, we do all that big stuff that we need to do, big areas and also small areas as well. Residential, municipal, commercial, renovations too.
All right, come on. We're gonna do it all. We appreciate you so much, Brother Damion, for being on this call. You gave some great information, some great insight. I'm hoping whether you're somebody who's just coming out, whether you know somebody, or you somebody in your community who wants to make a difference. I mean, go back to the beginning and watch this episode. Thank you so much again for all that you do in the community. We're gonna be doing something together real soon. We locked in. I appreciate you, and we're gonna keep moving forward. And I hope to have you again next week. And I have Brother Deric on the call, and I think OG1 said he gonna be on there too. So it's gonna be powerful. and I love that. And before I get off, like I said to you offline, I said I couldn't find a picture of you with you by yourself, and so but I saw that picture with you and Brother Deric, and I love how y'all are in the same field, boots on the ground, supporting each other, and that's what it's about. So thank y'all so much for doing all that y'all do for the community.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that.
So just stay on the backstage for me. Thank y'all so much for another episode of Real Eyes, Real Eyes, Real News, and I will see you next week. Peace and love.